They didn't need chains. They didn't need prisons. They didn't need torture chambers. They wanted something far more powerful. They wanted your mind, not your body, not your loyalty, your thoughts, your memories, your identity. For decades, the United States government secretly ran a program designed to answer one question: can a human being be broken, rebuilt, and controlled like a machine? This isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't fiction. This is the true story of MKUltra. And once you hear what they did, you'll never look at governments the same way again. It began in the early Cold War. America was terrified, not of bombs, not of armies, but of ideas. The Soviet Union and China were spreading communism. Reports surfaced claiming enemy scientists had discovered brainwashing. Prisoners of war were returning home, changed. Some refused to return to their country. Some praised their former captors. Some looked empty inside. American intelligence reached a terrifying conclusion. If our enemies can control minds, we must learn how to control minds first. So they launched a secret project. No congressional approval, no public record, no ethical oversight, only a classified code name: MKUltra. The goal was simple: find a way to erase a human personality, then replace it. They wanted to create people who could be programmed, assassins who wouldn't remember killing, spies who wouldn't know they were spies, citizens who could be manipulated without realizing it. Human beings became test subjects, not volunteers, not soldiers, ordinary people, students, prisoners, mental patients, addicts, runaways. Many never knew they were part of an experiment. They thought they were receiving medical treatment. They were wrong. One of the main tools was LSD. At the time, LSD was new. Scientists barely understood it. MKUltra poured it into everything: drinks, food, cigarettes, injections. People were drugged without consent. Some were locked in rooms and dosed repeatedly for days or weeks. Others were injected in public places and secretly observed. They wanted to see what happened when the mind completely lost control. The results were catastrophic. Subjects screamed, hallucinated, became paranoid, lost their sense of reality. Some never recovered. But drugs weren't enough. MKUltra escalated. They combined chemicals with electroshock therapy, sensory deprivation, sleep deprivation, hypnosis, isolation, verbal abuse. People were strapped to beds and shocked until they forgot who they were. Others were locked in dark rooms for days, with no sound, no light, no human contact. Some were kept awake for over a week straight. When the brain breaks down, it becomes suggestible. That's what they wanted. A blank slate. One technique became especially disturbing. Researchers attempted something called psychic driving. They would take a patient, drug them into a coma, and play recorded messages into their ears for hours. Sometimes thousands of repetitions. You are worthless. You are broken. You will obey. The idea was to destroy the original personality, then implant a new one. What they created instead were human wrecks. Patients forgot how to speak, forgot how to walk, forgot their families. Some regressed into childlike states. Others became violent. Others became permanently disabled. One man walked into a government retreat. He was a scientist. He believed he was attending a normal meeting. Without his knowledge, he was dosed with LSD. He experienced a mental collapse. Days later, he jumped from a hotel window to his death. His family was told it was suicide. Decades later, the truth surfaced. He was part of MKUltra, and he never consented. Even worse, some experiments were outsourced. The government funded hospitals, universities, and private researchers using front organizations. Most of the scientists didn't know where the money came from. Some did, and didn't care. Because funding was endless and secrecy was guaranteed. If something went wrong, there would be no consequences. MKUltra didn't only test drugs. They explored using prostitutes to lure men into rooms where they would be secretly drugged and observed. Hidden cameras, two-way mirrors, Men watched as their minds unraveled. No consent, no warnings, no follow-up care, just data. Why would a government do this? Because fear makes people abandon morality. The Cold War turned ethics into obstacles. If controlling minds meant defeating communism, then anything was justified. At least, that's what they told themselves. By the early 1970s, rumors began leaking. Journalists started asking questions. Congress demanded answers. That's when something interesting happened. The agency running MK-Ultra ordered most of the files destroyed, shredded, burned, erased. Thousands of experiments disappeared forever. What we know today comes from fragments that survived by accident. Let that sink in. The public doesn't even know the full scope, because the evidence was deliberately eliminated. When officials were finally questioned, they admitted MK-Ultra existed. They admitted people were harmed. They admitted no meaningful consent was given. But no one went to prison. No major trials, no mass prosecutions, just regret. A few settlements. And silence. Think about that. If an individual did this, they would be called a monster. If a cult did this, they would be hunted down. But when a government does it, it becomes classified history. MK-Ultra failed in its original goal. They never achieved true mind control. They never created programmable humans. What they did succeed at was proving how easily power corrupts, how quickly fear turns nations into laboratories, how thin the line is between security and atrocity. The scariest part isn't that MK-Ultra happened. The scariest part is this. It happened in a country that calls itself free. It happened under leaders who spoke about democracy. It happened in offices with suits, paperwork, and polite language. Not in dark caves, not in secret islands. In normal buildings, with normal people, doing unimaginable things. MK-Ultra officially ended, at least on paper, but many documents are still classified. Many names are still hidden. Many victims were never identified. Some are still alive today, living with damaged minds, never knowing why. So when people ask, could a government ever do something like that? The answer isn't hypothetical. They already did. Not once, not accidentally, not briefly. For decades. MK-Ultra wasn't about science. It wasn't about defense. It was about control. And control has always been the real addiction of power, because the most dangerous weapon on Earth isn't a bomb. It isn't a gun. It isn't a missile. It's the ability to reach inside a human being and decide who they become. And that is a line humanity should never cross. But it was crossed. Quietly, deliberately, and almost erased from history. Which raises one final question. If this was only the program we discovered, how many more were never meant to be found? Because the darkest secrets are rarely the ones we expose. They're the ones we never even realize existed.